Hello, my name is Sarah Spar Stubbs, and I'm one of the chaplains at Matthews Glen, and I'm grateful to spend a moment with you today. Nearly 20 years ago, my husband and I went on a vacation to Colorado and Wyoming, and I got to take my first, and at this point, only trip to Yellowstone National Park. Perhaps you have been there as well. It's such a beautiful place. It became our first national park in 1872, and perhaps one of the most famous places in the whole park is right here. I brought a picture of it. Can you see that? Do you know what that is? That is a picture of Old Faithful, the geyser that goes off with some regularity. In the early days of Old Faithful, it went off every 60 to 65 minutes, but they say during the 20th century that a small series of earthquakes have it a little more spread out, somewhere between 60 minutes to 110 minutes apart. If you've ever stayed in the Old Faithful Inn next door to Old Faithful, they actually have a clock on the wall that tells you the approximate time, and as you get closer to that time, crowds build up. If you can see off in the distance here, there's a crowd that has built up to watch it go off. But, because of its faithfulness, it attracts a large crowd within the park. And everybody gets really excited as it's about to go off. Well, if you think of the definition of faithful, that's loyal or steadfast or true. Isn't that a description of who God is? And so for the next minute or so, I'd like to talk about some scriptures that teach us about the faithfulness of God. In Hebrews 10:23, the verse says this, "Let us hold fast to the confession of our hope without wavering, for he who has promised is faithful." God is faithful. In what ways is God faithful? Well, Isaiah 41 verse 10 reminds us this, "Do not fear, for I am with you. Do not be afraid, for I am your God." Friends, no matter our circumstances, let us remember that God is faithful. It's not about a perfect life. God's faithfulness is not about the circumstances of our life, but just that presence, that eternal presence that is promised to us. He who promised is faithful. So it's not just geysers that are faithful. Our God is faithful. And I wonder, in your journey of faith, I wonder how you have experienced God's faithfulness. And I ask you, how are you seeking God's faithfulness today? How do you need to know of God's faithfulness today? My prayer is that it will be made known to you, because as the writer of Hebrews told us, let us hold fast to the confession of our hope without wavering, for he who has promised is faithful. Friends, that is a word to hold on to for you and me today. God is faithful. Thanks so much for your time. I will see you again soon. You take care.